Well, after watching episode 12 of Dear God, and looking at the question for this week, I considered my thoughts on it, and I have several things which have crossed through my mind, mainly, what is religion, the purpose of religion in general, and then here in the United States. In the general sense, I think there are several purposes behind religion. I think that initially, people have a need to explain things. We have a general need to fill in the details that we don't know and explain why something is the way it is. Because not knowing for us as humans is something that is almost unbearable, really. It's just something that we can't tolerate, not having an explanation for something. And so I think the basic, as times have changed, our explanations of things have changed, but we still need an explanation. And I think the purpose it also serves is because we, as creatures, want to believe in general. We have a very active imagination, and a lot of things come from that, great writing, art, many things like that. And we have an explicit need to create, and I think not just forms of things such as art, but also we need to create something to believe in. Whether or not that something exists, we can't prove or disprove, but we have a need for it to be there regardless. I think that people have a desire to have something there to fill in the unknown, especially in regards to death, because death is one of those things that is an unknown. We don't know what's going to happen when we die, and so we desire something to comfort us about that lack of knowledge, either a belief that there is nothing after death, or that there is life after death, or something in between, or reincarnation. Just depends on whatever you believe. But it's sort of a comfort because it gives us a sense of certainty if we can believe in something happening after death. Otherwise, it's just this huge unknown that is very unnerving, I think. Not knowing is one of the things that is most unnerving for us as human beings, because we have a desire to know. And I think religion also has served other purposes, one such purpose being law, and I guess you could say even a human survival guide. Some of the very ancient laws from Christianity have a basis not so much in even what I would consider being God-given, but laws like, say, for example, don't eat pork. Well, they're not really valid today, but for a society that did not have the means to cook their pork well and didn't understand things like botulism and trichinosis, laws like that protected them as a race and kept them alive. I mean, there's plenty of laws like that. Don't wear mixed garments. Well, in the area that they lived in, from what I know, it was very, very hot. And so wearing a single particular type of garment like cotton would be better than wearing something that was made out of, cotton and wool weave, because they would want something that was the most breathable for their environment. And so I think a lot of it does have to do with survival, some of the earlier laws. And I think religion, while law itself does hold a lot of gravity, I think religion was one of the earliest institution of laws, because normal laws hold a little less weight, because when somebody tells you a law, it's them saying it. But when God says do this or don't do this, then it somehow holds more impact with people. Because if God says it, well, you really can't argue, But, so I think, it also acts as a system of laws, and many of the laws are very similar to other ancient laws, like the Code of Hammurabi, and I think we see a lot of similarities in between different religions. Speaking of similarities, there are even some myths that come into play, which mythology and fable are very similar to religion in the fact that almost every single culture has religion, and almost every single culture has mythology and fable. In fact, I can't think of a culture that doesn't have one or the other. And